Hello and how are you? It's Butterfly. So you want to know more about tarot. I realize that on my channel I've pretty much gone through all of the deck at some point, but I've been amiss with the court cards. I wanted to save them for last, and I realized I did the swords. Hello, kitty. As soon as I start talking, kitty wants to come. Hey, kitty. Love you so much. Okay. Fur. So I've done the swords, the 4 court cards there, and now I'm going to aim to do the pentacles. So today we're talking about the Page of Pentacles. The Page is basically a messenger. So if you think about even in Parliament here in Canada, so looking at Parliament, which is based off of the the British sort of way of doing things, government. We have pages. The pages were messengers. So the long and the short of it is your page is bringing you a message. Now, granted, there's always the question of gender. And let's face it, at the turn of the century when these cards are being created, the art was being made, the court cards having 4. So you have the page, the knight, the queen, the king. The queen was basically the only female of the group. That was the way of it. And she was basically a consort to the king. She existed because she was a consort to the king. That's why she made it into the 4. Now, as time has evolved, we've definitely wanted to have something a little bit more gender equal in the equation. So we've basically blessed the blessed the page with the job of being a female energy. So now we have 2 females. We have the queen and the page, which clearly is male, because this sort of a tunic, even though, just basically showing the thigh downwards at the period when this attire would have been worn, would have been strictly a male way of dressing. It would not have been female. So in our a depiction of many tarot decks now, we end up having different ways of looking at the court cards, and so the illustrations are a lot more sort of blended. We've even come so far to say that even though the energies now, not the gender, but the energies are male and female, and we're really moving away from interpreting these things as generally being male and female, because we don't just want to say that females are receptive, and we don't just want to say that males are active. So now we're moving more away from the gender aspect of it and saying that they are active energies or receptive energies. And that's a sign of the time as we sort of interpret cards. Okay, so that's my blurb on gender as I see it. You may see it differently, and certainly if you want to add to the discussion, put it down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. My ideas are always morphing, and society is always morphing, and this is an illustration of that. Okay, so all of the pages of all of the suits are the messenger. Cat, I know you want to keep me company, and I love you very much, but you really need to kind of give me my space here. I'm also going to go through several of the other decks that I have and show you what is shown as the page or the messenger of those decks of Pentacles. So I'm going to move this down now so that we can talk more about what we see here in the card. Okay? I did set this up to be nice and okay. Well, there you go. So the Pentacles. This is now the Page of Pentacles. The Pentacles is basically a suit that has to do with money. You see how it looks like a coin, so it has to do with money matters. It talks about anything that has to do with the everyday life. It has to do with business, so transactions, practical matters, anything that is very, very practical. This is the doer. not so much as a thinker, such as the swords, not so much as the feeler, concerned with emotion like cups, and not so much with passion and ego as wands. But it has to do with money matters and practical and family environments, family and environments. Everything that has to do with your everyday mundane life. This is telling you, this is a messenger, so it's telling you that you will have an effect. You're looking at the how your environment is being shaped, how you are going to work from day to day to achieve results. This is about setting goals. This is about getting something that's very tangible. This is where you're gridding, you're making a grid or a plot, or looking at your bullet journal, for instance. That would be a very day-to-day sort of activity where you're charting on your bullet journal how many times you've actually done this and how many times you've achieved that, or the role it takes for you to, the process it'll take for you to get to your goal. This is about being practical and realistic in your approach to all things. This is a page that's telling you, bringing you the message of common sense. It's telling you, get your head out of the clouds, don't daydream, but put some action into what you are doing. So it's basically when you're kind of combining the swords and the wands, like your thought and your action. This is about actually doing it and putting your plan into action. So very goal-oriented. It's about having and not having. So in a business sense, you may be prosperous. You may be wanting to grow your business and expand. Insurance matters, abundance, having security in your business, that sort of thing. There may also be matters of trust here. So can you trust somebody with your business even? Can you trust somebody to help you in your goals? Or will you have some kind of a transaction with somebody else, which is a relationship? It's about relationships. So that is an exchange of trust. So trust then becomes the currency. So there's definitely an exchange. So then it also becomes a matter of building relationships with family, with friends, and so then the communication between you and the people around you, that communication becomes the currency. And so that's what you're looking at there. It becomes your exchange. It's about commitments as well. So you're sticking by what you've said you were going to do and sticking to the process towards the goal. You have to be able to trust, which means you're accepting other people to do what they say they're going to do, trusting them at their word. And you also have to have some sense of flexibility here, because sometimes it takes a few errors to get to where you need to be. So you're taking account of errors and not letting that blind you and say, I'm not going to trust you because you've not done what you're going to say. Sometimes people fail. Sometimes you will fail. And every failure actually is one step closer to succeeding. So this is about balancing your way as you're, juggling all of the pentacles, all of your tasks to get towards to where you want to be. This is a very youthful energy in looking at the female, and that's something that I sometimes take issue with the court cards, because if we look at two pairs, we usually have the page and the knight and the queen and the king, and we usually take the two female energies, which is the page and the queen, to sort of be the lesser of the next in the set upward. So I don't really like that part of it, but this is kind of like a immature part of learning. This chap has a lack of planning. He's a little bit more chaotic. He is not quite putting things into action like the knight would in the next step up. He hasn't integrated things to a level of maturity like the queen and the king upwards from that. This is the least mature of the group. So this is the initial stages, the starting of a plan towards working at something. It's a very young, immature, inexperienced, that's the word I'm looking for, inexperienced way to put plans into action. What else can I say? Here he's standing here in the middle of a plowed field. So this may be some farmland back here. And so it's the beginning stages of putting your farm, so to speak, into play. So there's nothing here yet growing, but it's definitely in the initial stages of that plan. This may be the beginning of study. You may be managing rule systems, putting that sort of a practical business plan into action. You're looking at the beginning stages, the immature stages of fertility. So this might be a new job or some business plans or the need to lay some stable foundation. He is in a very, if you look at his face, he's in a very reflective pose. So this is showing you the potential. Again, the beginning stages. So the potential, he's thinking about the plan. He's looking at a very practical approach, reflective. And also because of the lack of experience and the immaturity and the spark of, those beginning intentions, this energy or this sort of card is giving you the message of, you may be starting a lot of different endeavors, but not actually following them through to their natural completion. Maybe starting a lot of activities, crafts, projects, hobbies, and then letting them go unfinished for long periods of time, if not forever. This might be also learning a new skill or hobby, such as learning to cook or to manage a household or anything that has to do with the mundane sort of everyday events. All right, so that takes care of your traditional RWS, and now I'm going to show you a few other cards. Here, I'll put them beside, if I can show you here. I'll show them one at a time. This is the card that shows the Page of Pentacles in the Wild Unknown Tarot. This is the Daughter of Pentacles, and here you have the Fawn, and of course they're depicting the Pentacles there above. Here we're showing the deck called the Animal Totem Tarot, and this is the Page of Pentacles there. Again, you see the beginning of the farming, planning stages with a very big question mark on the face, what's yet to come. This is Shadowscapes Tarot. Again, another beautiful, beautiful depiction. Yeah, so the Shadowscapes Tarot has the Page of Pentacles. Just want to make sure that that's in there. Okay. There we go. This one here is the Victorian Fairy Companion. Or sorry, this is the Victorian Fairy Tarot. Victorian Fairy Tarot. And for the Pentacles, I would not have chosen, they did it with the seasons, and I would not have chosen Autumn for Pentacles, but that's okay. Anyway, so here we have the Herald of Autumn. Just going to close my door there, sorry, so that we don't get distracted with the music downstairs and hit with any copyright nonsense. This deck is the Herbal Tarot, one of my absolute favorites. Herbal Tarot, because it also gives me the opportunity to look up all sorts of plants, herbal, just our vegetation and the medicinal properties thereof. This is the blue flag, so there's always, in this deck, there's always a feature herb or plant or flower in with the card itself. So this is the Page of Pentacles card. And the blue flag iris is lovely. They also, in the very, very tiny little white leaflet, little white book, I'm going to give you here, the blue flag, the Iris versicolare. So its medicinal properties are diuretic, cholagogue, a laxative, promotes salivation. The root is used for all chronic and acute liver disorders and for blood purification. The divinatory meanings, a youthful, acquisitive person seeking wealth, material fortune, and success. So acquisitive means they're acquiring. That's definitely very much in keeping with our business sense here. This one is my whimsical tarot. Which I quite enjoy as well. It brings a very childlike quality. So this is the Page of Pentacles. And just quite simply in the little white book, it talks about financial success. This one here is the Ghost Tarot. And here they show the Knave. So in the court cards with the Ghost Tarot, they have the Knave, the Knight, the Queen, the King, which I like. And just want to make sure I'm reading from the right suit here. The Knave is the spirit of the apprentice. Very much the apprentice, the learning person, beginning their studies. Again, keeping with our traditional meanings. So the spirit of the apprentice, learning is the first step to knowing how to do things. To do things, a very practical guide. This one's quite a treat. I really like my inner child card. This is basically the fairy tale tarot. Now let's just make sure we can get the whole thing in there. There we go. That is the depiction. Let's see it even clearer. This is Huckleberry Finn. And I'm going to read to you. So if you're not interested in listening to me read, then, that's okay too. But I will read just about a page and a half in here in the book that accompanies, because I think it's a nice way to read how, this little kind of a fairy tale and how they tie in the meanings. Just to, tie up the video this way. So this is called the Child of Crystals. The hearts is cups, and then the sword of truth. So that would be air. And then the magic wands, which would be the wands, the staves, the fire element. And the pentacles, or the earth element, would be the crystals. So they call it the earth crystals. So here's a story that they have here with Huck Finn. The Child of Crystals, which is this card, represented by Mark Twain's delightful character Huck Finn, is the untamed part of us that desires adventure and an uncivilized relationship with the earth. In the beginning stages of consciousness, we are introduced to the concepts of abundance, honesty, boundaries, experimentation, and responsibility on the physical plane. How we deal with these attributes has a direct bearing on our maturation beyond the child state of existence. Huck Finn is the proverbial vagabond boy, the son of the town drunk, who rebels against the dictates of social convention. During Huck's adventures on the Mississippi River, many symbolic issues arise concerning freedom, his own, and the freedom of black slave Jim, and the quest for higher life. The issue of the wise use of earthly resources is represented when Huck and his companion Tom Sawyer find money that robbers have hidden in a cave. They get $6,000 apiece as a reward, all in gold. The judge allows them to have $1 a day. Huck's life is one of wit, trial and error, and the desires to remain a child at heart. Ultimately, we can identify with Huck's resistance to growing up as he experiences obstacles and triumphs through his initiation into adulthood. Huck Finn is a reminder of the earthy soul within ourselves. He is a mirror reflection of nature's wildness and the independent spirit personified by the great god of the pagan world, Pan. In the Child of Crystal card, Huck is fishing in the Mississippi on a lazy summer day. One might say that he is fishing for new knowledge in the wisdom stream of humanity's consciousness. As the Child of Crystals, he has the various animal friends, his trusty slingshot, and a calmness that reminds us of the harmonious vibrations of Mother Nature. When Huck appears for you, let your adventurous spirit roam free. Hike through the woods, leave the world of civilization for the great outdoors, paddle your canoe downstream, ask yourself some hard questions about your personal freedom, your use of physical gifts with sensitivity and skill, and any fears that you may have about being a responsible member of society. Try to fathom where you are now along the meandering river of life. There we go. So that is my video on the Page of Pentacles. I hope this finds you well. Take care. Onward and upward. And grab a deck. That's a lame way to end a video. Grab a deck. Pentacles. Grab your testicles. Now grab something. Grab a cup of tea. That's what you need.